And a very warm welcome to the Rob and Blakey Commentary Box podcast. We are loud and clear on Welsh football. I'm the former BBC Wales football correspondent, Rob Phillips, and alongside me as ever, the former Wales international and Premier League player, Nathan Blake.
How you doing?
And of course, we're speaking to you from the University of South Wales Atrium, where we're brought to you with the valued support of the journalism and media courses. Plus today, as a one-off, the most popular throat lozenges you can find.
Tunes!
Not quite. But I'm doing my best impression of Nathan Blake and his deepest voice.
Yeah.
Spread the word. Tell your friends. We're available on all social medias, outlets, Instagram, X, Blue Sky, Threads. Watch us on YouTube. And, of course, get us on your usual podcast outlets, including Spotify. You know the drill. Enjoy, follow, subscribe. We'd love to have you on board. So we will talk about Wales women, Žan Vipotnik, Newport, domestic Welsh football as well. But there is only one place to start. We're recording this on Wednesday afternoon, the night after Nathan Blake was a very happy bunny for more than one reason, that Cardiff City went to the Kairas in Wrexham and knocked the home side out of the Carabao Cup. Wait for it. 2-1 to make the quarterfinals. And let's get it over with now. Who did you predict would win, and what was the score you predicted, Nathan Blake?
I think I might have said like 2-1 Cardiff City. No, in fact, I did say 2-1 Cardiff
And
City.
tell the good people what I said.
You flipped it.
I said 2-1 to Wrexham.
Yeah.
So the bragging rights are all with Nathan Blake.
That's right. Just because you're in League One don't mean to say you're in the biggest club in Wales, right? Don't get angry. Don't get mad. It's just the truth, Ruth. You know what I mean? That's the way it is.
Well, what is undeniable is that the better team won last night.
Yeah, well, I did say, like, you know, they're a League One team with a championship squad, aren't they? Let's be fair. There's even the young players have played in the championship, and it just shows if you've got a good manager who can organise, set up, teach you how to press properly, defend well, good at set pieces, just across the board, tick, 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 install a philosophy of play, and he's done it all in 6 or 7 weeks. Listen, you've got to have a chance because their players are better than League One. I've said that all along, and I'll maintain that. Even if they don't go up, I'd say it doesn't mean to say your players couldn't cope in the Championship. You know, we've seen Leeds United, Charlton Athletic down there for many years, but Cardiff have got a Championship squad, I think.
And you'd have to say, we've been saying it on this podcast for a couple of weeks now, that Brian Barry Murphy, the great achievement that he's made is to make his philosophy, embed his philosophy so quickly. You just said it. He had 6 or 7 weeks in pre-season, and to turn on a performance like they did in Wrexham against a championship side. Yes, Wrexham made changes. We'll talk about that in a moment. Obviously, with thought of...
Hey, no get-out clauses here, Robert.
No, I'm not making any excuses because...
Cardiff made changes.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just about to say that. I'm not defending my prediction because I thought Wrexham would have too much physicality. As it turned out, they had one moment of physicality. Kiefer Moore's goal.
Well, they had plenty of moments of physicality. It's just that, like I said, you're just playing in a lower league. It doesn't mean to say you're a lesser player. They got players who are more than capable of playing in the Championship. I don't think as many defenders want to go up against Celtic for physicality, right? So,
So before we come on to Cardiff, what went wrong for Wrexham?
Too passive first half. I thought the performance first half was much like what we spoke about recently, but they've got their stuff together over the past few weeks, right? But if you go back 3 or 4 weeks, we were saying, way too passive defensively, out of possession. I mean, they almost approached it like, we'll beat you. Yeah. To me, it was either we'll beat you, and because we're better than you, or there was like a bit of trepidation when we're not sure of what we're coming up against. But Cardiff just done what Cardiff do. You know, they played the way they always play, not sometimes play, always play. And I think when Wrexham equalised, I think most people thought, but like, Cardiff are a bigger fish than that.
Just having a wander on X.
Yeah.
Woeful, embarrassing performance by Wrexham. No urgency, and played as though they didn't know each other first half, which I think backs up what you just said. I love Parky, but that team selection was shocking. Well done to Cardiff. They got some great players.
I don't know. I don't know if the team was shocking. Wrexham.
7 changes from the team that drew at Middlesbrough.
Yeah, but it's a squad. Like, I don't understand that sort of argument. You know, you might not make 7 changes, or you might. You know, times of Cardiff have changed their full-backs or their centre-halves, or Wintlow's dropped out along with centre-halves, and you've gone with 2 different centre. It's a squad game, mate. You know what I mean? That's what we talk about at the start of the season, was the fact that Wrexham had signed so many players which had strengthened their squad. Where they're bringing, players like Kiefer Moore off the bench, then they can afford to do it. Broadhead off the bench, whether it's the league or it's a cup game. So just sometimes you got to take it on the chin, man. And Cardiff just.
But is it a worry for Wrexham? They've got the leaders' commentary on Friday, and they've won 1 of 6 in the league at home.
They do need to get onto a run of results, Wrexham. That's what I think is missing from them. Not a consistency of results, right? So even if you don't play well and you nick a 1-0, you've got to have those back-to-back wins. As simple as that. If you don't get back-to-back wins, if you go 1 win, a draw, then a loss, then a win, it's sort of patchy, so you never get to where you want to be. But the biggest point I'd make as well was Brian Barry Murphy, his substitutions and his game management. Brilliant. The winger comes on for Wrexham on the right-hand side. You switch Capaccio over to match the pace. Then you bring off the winger, put on another sort of defensive player. It was just really, really well managed from the bench and by the players, I thought. It was a really good game.
Yeah, and to me, that was as well as Cardiff have played this season. I thought they did everything right. I thought the press.
I've seen them a few times. So I've seen them a few times. Well, probably what have they played?
Well, I've seen
11,
4 or 5
games.
Times.
Yeah,
that was the best I've seen.
Well, I've seen that before, the press, because the press isn't something that. So I'll try and educate you a little bit.
Thanks
right?
a lot, mate.
Right, but
That's
you don't.
really
You don't.
good of
It's
you.
not. You're saying the best, but that's not something you just do once, is it?
Quite, and I've seen the press before, but they did it really well last.
Well, they've done it. That's why they're top of the table in League One, because they do it well, more often than not. So it'd be, I would say it'd be harder to find when they didn't press well in a game than when they press well. It wasn't like because it's a derby and it's Wrexham we press. This is just the normal way for Cardiff.
Yeah.
So they've done. And another thing I really liked was Rubin's little interview afterwards. Little Freudian slip. Did you see it? He almost swore on TV, but he managed to hold it back.
It's been really Rubin Colwill for the end of this year.
Yeah, but he was really mature. It made me sit up and think, wow, Rubes has grown up, man. So he's taken that that responsibility on his shoulders that, I'm the man, which is exactly what he needs to do.
Well, interesting you mentioned Rubin Colwill. Paul Williams on X. Another impressive performance from us. He's a Cardiff fan. Yes, there will be blips, as we saw last Saturday. You and I were both at Bolton.
Yeah.
But the job BBM is doing is incredible. Rubin, superb tonight and drawing the attention of both Sky and ITV. Hopefully, Craig Bellamy as well. Now, it was fairly noticeable that there are plenty of shots on the TV coverage I saw of Craig Bellamy in the crowd. A lot of the reaction on X from Cardiff fans last night, immediately after the game, when they talked about Rubin Colwill, they mentioned Craig Bellamy in the same
because
post.
he's not being picked.
Because he's not being picked. Didn't get a minute in the last window, though he was in the squad. Previously, he wasn't in the squad.
Yeah, I don't want it
what
to
does a
build...
performance like that do?
I don't want it to build to a crescendo for him because it's too much pressure then. I don't think that's fair at all on Rubes. I really don't. I think, like, what'll happen is it'll build and build and build, and then the manager can go, okay, I've been there. A manager go, okay, here's one game. If you don't perform, then, do you know what I mean? Give the boy time, give the boy sort of minutes to play and become a Welsh international and a regular and things like that. It's got to be nurtured in. It's not. I wouldn't like to see Craig go, okay, then here you go, and then it's like a gamble. If he plays well, okay, thumbs up, we move forward. But if he doesn't, I'm justified in what I'm saying. That's no way to do it. It's not.
But it's been interesting.
It's not fair on
the
Rubes.
last couple of squads.
You've got to nurture
wasn't in the
players like
first
that.
squad of this season. There was plenty of talk around it. Then he got called up, but there was an injury, so he didn't go to Kazakhstan as you did. Then in the second lot of qualifiers, he came in, but didn't get a game. But surely a performance like that, I mean.
We've seen it.
I don't need any convincing on Rubin Colwill, as you know. But clearly Craig Bellamy does. Or is it the fact that, and this is what you and I have talked about before, he plays in a position where he's got Harry Wilson up ahead of him. So I'm not expecting Rubin Colwill to start against Liechtenstein as well as he's playing at the moment, which is the next. And the squad is out next Wednesday. We'll be talking about it.
As good a player Harry is, take it from me, as good a player Harry is, he doesn't have the vision that Rubin has. He won't do things that Rubin can do. And you know how much I love Harry.
Yeah.
This is my opinion. I've seen Rubin for the last 3 years. That boy is a step ahead of most players. If he gets picked, he doesn't remind me in the way he plays. It reminds me in sort of if they get him and he goes to a big club. So if he went, I remember when Damien Duff went to Chelsea, Duff was a hell of a player at Blackburn. But when I seen him, we were in the tunnel, and I was like, he looked like 4 or 5 inches taller. It's just they had straightened him up physically, everything had changed, more athletic, and he was unbelievable for Chelsea. If someone like Chelsea got over to Rubin, they put him on a different program, physicality, athletically, he would improve. Right, and I'm telling you, the things he does, I've seen it for years. You only need to see it once, really and truly, when he first started to say, "That boy."
You and I are in agreement on that.
Yeah, that boy can do things that other people can't do. He sees things that other people. If anything, in League One, I would say sometimes it's too easy for him, and he would be guilty of overdoing it.
Yeah, my point has always been with Wales, in particular, that. Yes, there are systems that might not suit Rubin Colwill if you're going to play. If Craig Bellamy picks a system that doesn't fit Rubin Colwill, but he asked him to work harder off the ball. He does that now. But the other thing which is undeniable is that there is only one player in that Wales squad that does what Rubin Colwill does. So in other words, my point is, if it's 0-0 against North Macedonia with 15 minutes to go, you look at the game changers, they call them finishers these days, game changers off the bench, he is perfect for that.
Yeah, well, I think he's perfect for more than that. I think it's the type of situation, like I said earlier, you don't throw him in and drag him out. Oh, you didn't play so well, out you come. You have to, he's a massive confidence player as well. So he has to, get an insight into a player's mind. No matter how good you are, and you would have heard it on different shows, whether it's Alan Shearer, I heard once talking when it was England and he was saying he wasn't sure if he was playing or not. And when Venables come and said, "No, you're my man," it made him elevate his performance. If you're a player and you know the manager don't fancy you, it's difficult to go out and perform outrageously well. You still will perform because what you do is what you do. But when you know the manager loves you and he's got your back, it's is different. And I defy any player to disagree with me.
Yeah, no, I think you're right on that.
I am right.
Yeah, okay, I just said I think you're right on
Don't
that.
think I am.
Well, okay, I know you're right on that.
There you go, Rob.
Let's
There you
just
go,
get
there
it
you go.
sorted. Honestly, you're really pedantic today.
I
Just because you got a prediction right.
I am. Well, I'm trying to make
Can you
sure.
give me the lottery numbers for later?
I don't
That'll
share
help.
those. I don't share those.
Just quickly on Kiefer Moore.
Good word, by the way, pedantic for you.
Yeah, it's
not bad.
You know, even with a bad throat.
Yeah.
Kiefer Moore came on, does what Kiefer Moore does.
Yeah.
His sixth goal against Cardiff City.
Yeah, listen, done well, but ultimately you lost the game. So, listen, celebrate your goal. Great. Keeps your run going, you know, whether Parkinson's stature against Coventry on Friday or not, I don't know, but
I'm sure he will.
Yeah, I would have thought so.
He's their best goal scorer. He's their dangerous. Also, the way they play, he holds up the ball. I thought that was lacking for them before he came on.
Well, they didn't have the ball.
No, well, they didn't have much of the ball.
That's the problem.
Although the possession stats ended up 50-50, which I found a bit
because they had a good second half.
That
and
way
then,
to me.
Cardiff defended well.
Yeah.
And like I said, the last 8, once they went 2-1 up, they then shut up shop, Cardiff did, and said, we're going to see it out. I think most people will think, this is going to go to penalties because, you know, Wrexham will overpower them. But that's what I said. Like,
the subs were
You're not
excellent.
going to overpower them because, you know, you got to think, like, the young players, many of them have been in and around the Welsh squad. You know, many of them have been in the first team and around the first team in the Championship. You know, they know what the game's about. You're not gonna physically outdo them. You know?
No. And I'll say it again. We're recording this on Wednesday, which is the night that Swansea City play Manchester City in the Carabao Cup. It would be great to have 2 of them in the quarter-final draw.
Remember the last time they played with the ball boy?
Yeah. That was, when they went on to win it with Eden Hazard and all that sort of stuff.
It was,
But what I will say, let's be honest about it. We had a chat before this podcast started, and Julie, the producer, fair play, she threw in a great shout, didn't she? She said, BBM looks like a Swansea manager.
Well, I didn't agree with it, so it might have been a great chat for you, but...
No, it's a great talking point, though.
That's a great talking point.
So talk.
Well, you tell the people, the listeners,
Well, I can see
what
this.
Julie said.
Basically, that I think it's all about the possession. Reminded her of the Martinez and that era at Swansea City.
No, her exact words were, BBM is more of a Swansea manager than he is a Cardiff manager.
Well, he's at Cardiff at the moment, and he's laid down a philosophy which has some resemblance to what it was at Swansea when they were Swansea loner.
More possession-based Swansea were.
And I agree. And I do think the difference between this Cardiff side and, say, the sides under Martinez, the press is far more aggressive, far more in your face, which is a Cardiff thing.
Well, that's if you're playing in the 90s, sounds so far away now, doesn't it?
Well, they are. You're
Playing
old
in the
now. Look at the
90s.
beard. You're going greyer. Good job you shaved your head.
It's not grey, it's snow. It's snowing outside, Rob. It's just not melted yet. But I think, what was I saying? Just totally...
the 90s are...
Yeah, in the 90s, I think... When I came to Cardiff, I always say, was very much, and don't take this the wrong way, like, so I'd use Man City and Man United, I'd cite them examples. So Swansea played in a more possession-based game like Manchester City. Cardiff playing a more aggressive front foot, wingers, quick, win the ball, second ball, press you up in Cardiff of all, because the fans demand it. I always say the fans demand that sort of, that scrap, that fight, that. I'm not saying Swansea fans don't. I'm saying under Martinez, what happened was Swansea fans became patient.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Right? And I think they had like managers like Laudrup and what have you, which were slightly weren't as possession based as Martinez, but they kept that sort of philosophy of possession being, the main sort of focus of how they play. I think the difference is now, over the years, it's sort of faded because Swansea have never had the squad that they had when they were in the Premier League and they were flying and blah, 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 blah. So they've got the philosophy, they just don't have the players to play up to that philosophy. And someone like a young Rhian, it's difficult to get up to that style of play, winning games, because that's the key, right?
Wow.
It's getting up to that possession base and winning games. But I would say to you, Swansea were more like Man City and Cardiff were more like Man United. Man United always had wingers, striker. People can win the ball in midfield. That's in their sort of 25-year successful period.
And what I would say is that Laudrup side knew how to press as well. Because they were, as you say, slightly different to the way Martinez played.
Yeah, Martinez was such the patient, right? He was like a surgeon. He just pick until one person's out of place, and then we exploit that. Do you know what I mean? Where I think Cardiff is more like, well, Rob, you're the winger. Nath, you're the defender. Rob, take him on, beat him.
So, as I said, we don't know what's happening this evening, but we do know that Žan Vipotnik scored twice last Saturday, 2-1 win over Norwich. I think it's fair to say those goals, by what I've read, brilliant finishes.
Yeah, lovely.
What a man in form. 6 goals in 8
and all of his
starts
goals
in the
have been
league.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did, like getting across people, great finishing from distance, finishing around the 6-yard box, 18-yard box. There's a variety. That's what I like about his goals. But he's in form. But, you need to win games. That's what I think.
Well, where does that leave Adam Idah? They paid $7 million for him.
It's competition.
1 league start, 7 subs, 1 goal.
It's competition. That's competition.
Do you think that's what spurred on Vipotnik?
Yeah, I said to you, that's definitely what spurred on Vipotnik for me, is knowing that someone else is coming in to challenge my place. And that's why I look at him and go, yeah, big respect, kid, because it's easy to go the other way, knowing that probably there's an Irish connection between the manager and Idah, and he's probably going to take my place. But the idea of football or sport is, like, if Rob comes in as a centre forward and Nathan's already in, it's my job to keep him out.
Yeah.
Right? So that goes down to training, where we train, and then games when I play. It's not just about scoring. It's about, right, how do I become the platform for the team to defend from the front? How do I then become, the person who you play off to bring other players into play? What's my strength? Getting down the channel. What's my strength? Going through the middle, getting crosses in, or, getting on the end of crosses and stuff. So I have big respect of Vipotnik, because, like I said, it would be easy to fall the other way and sort of give up your sort of shirt to Idah. But he hasn't. He said,
he's accepted the challenge.
Yeah. I'm the main man. Come and take it. And now it's for Idah to, when you get on and get opportunity, if Vipotnik's playing at a 10, if you're at the 9, it's not good enough. You got to get to an 11 to get him out, basically.
Alan Sheehan will hope as well that's the platform in the league to springboard to. But they got a Charlton on.
Well, he will
Saturday.
hope that, because then everyone's playing at the highest level.
Yeah.
That's the whole idea of competition, is to get your team up to a level where everyone's challenging each other for their positions. Because you've heard that, we want 2 players for every position. If you've got that, you're very fortunate. But only 11 people can play.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So competition for places is healthy, very healthy.
So they got Charlton away on Saturday, which is Nathan Jones' side. We talked about them last week being really impressive.
Yeah, good,
Preston
strong.
away,
But
and then Ipswich at home.
I don't look at the league this year and go, like, there's a standout team for me. I think Coventry are on it at the moment, but it's the championship is tough, man. It is tough. Trust me, it's a tough league to get promoted out of, and it's a tough league to sustain 46 games plus your League Cup plus your FA Cup. It's a tough ask.
Maybe Celtic could have done with keeping Adam Idah, because Brendan Rodgers is gone now, And we've got to mention this. Being talked about as a possible Celtic manager is one Craig Bellamy.
I was more concerned that BBM might be talked as a future Celtic manager, but I don't think Craig would go in the current circumstances in the middle of a
Well, let me put this scenario to you then.
qualifying campaign.
Martin O'Neill has gone in at Celtic with Sean Maloney. He keeps it to the end of the season. Okay, I accept there are Robbie Keane is being mentioned. Postecoglou, Ange Postecoglou coming back is being mentioned. So the scenario being he stays there. At the moment, it's Kieran McKenna is the favourite.
Yeah.
Robbie Keane 3-1, Ange Postecoglou 5-1, Kjetil Knutsen, the Bodø Glimt manager, is 8-1. Sean Maloney 12s, Kevin Muscat 12s, Craig Bellamy 12s.
That's not a good 12, is it?
Thoughts?
Kevin Muscat and Craig Bellamy.
Well, no, it could be explosive.
Yeah, that could.
But there's a scenario that Craig gets to the World Cup and then says, thanks, but I'm going to Celtic. He's been there. He's obviously everybody. You don't turn down Celtic, do you? If they come calling.
I don't know if Celtic will come calling right now for Craig.
No.
I think there's bookies make their odds, right?
Interesting he's been linked, though.
Yeah. Well, we've seen that before many times, haven't we? People being linked with jobs. But even if he is linked, are you asking me, do I think he would do a good job there or don't?
I'm just
Is there a
interested.
question?
There's the
Do you
link.
think
But,
yeah,
and
well,
it's
there's-
being talked of.
Yeah, it's a talking point, but like you mentioned, 4 or 5 other people as well.
Yeah.
Listen, it's a great opportunity because it is a great club. Might get stick off Rangers fans, but they are the greatest in Scotland, I think, on paper as well.
Well, recent records suggest that.
Yeah, so and having family from Waterford in Ireland, I kind of have to.
Right, okay. Well, we'll put that on the... I'm sure somebody will ask Craig Bellamy at the squad announcement about links with Celtic.
Yeah,
He'll
he's
get
bound to
everything.
get asked
Yeah,
about it, but
exactly,
he'll give you the normal answer. Look, I just focus on Wales, and that's
he
what
is.
it was.
And I've got no doubt
And
he is.
he's got... Look, like what I would say is, if Celtic come in now,
He's not going.
I don't know.
Really?
Well, you don't get that opportunity. It doesn't come around again. If Celtic come in now, like, I don't know. Put it so, if Celtic had offered Craig the job today, what do you think Craig says? Let me put it back to you.
I think it's a real big dilemma because...
So what do you think Craig says?
Because Craig Bellamy in his mind will think, and he's probably right to think this, we are so close. I am so close to getting Wales to a World Cup.
Yeah.
And then get to the World Cup. And after the World Cup,
Yeah, but the job
what
isn't there.
happens then? No, but then another job might come up.
It might not. What I'm saying is, this is it now. Celtic now. So you're Craig Bellamy. You're Craig Bellamy. You've achieved everything you've achieved. It's gone a bit ropey last couple of games. You're not guaranteed for World Cup promotion. World Cup, get to the World Cup. Celtic, your former team, one of the biggest clubs in Europe, come knocking for you. What do you do?
I think sometimes it's...
You ever heard
it's
saying
timing.
opportunity doesn't knock twice?
Yeah, and I think sometimes the timing is wrong, and it's just the way that...
Timing in what sense?
As
though?
in, I
Because he's
think
halfway
Craig
through
Bellamy is
the
committed
campaign
to
with Wales.
Yeah, and I don't think he would walk out on his country.
Managers have done it though, Rob. I don't think anyone expected Brendan Rodgers to walk out.
No, they do it. Listen, it's a short career in management, so you've sometimes got to take the opportunity.
I think it's not only intriguing, but it's enticing, right?
Yeah.
And that's not because I want him to go. Of course, you don't want him to go. He's done a great job for Wales, and you want to see him complete that job. But I also think to myself, like, temptation is different, right? If it was me, I'd want to finish the job with Wales. That's just me. But he might be different. And, you know, as well, I can say that because I'm not in the position where I'm Wales manager, I'm being offered. If I was in the position, my thought process would probably be totally different.
And you mentioned Brian Barry Murphy. You're surprised that, or you would have thought he might have been linked, probably too early for him.
If you're doing
But if
due
he goes
diligence,
up with Cardiff, if he takes Cardiff up this season, do they have a fight on their hands to keep him then, do you think?
I think if he gets promoted with Cardiff back to the Championship, especially winning it, I think if he does well in the Championship, he's probably gone by January next year.
A year January.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so.
Interesting. This is the man, I should say, that predicted Marco Silva would do well when he was tearing up trees.
Like if I was on the board now at Wrexham, at Celtic, I'd be saying,
not this one, maybe the next one after.
I'd be saying now.
Would you?
Yeah.
He's League One and he hasn't done anything
because
yet.
if he does well, which I'm saying, well, why wouldn't he, from what I'm seeing? It's like watching a player. You see that player, like people go, oh, the stats say he's a good player, but let me look at the player. And what I see, because my eyes don't lie to me today. So I want to see that player away from home. I want to see him at home. I want to see him when the pitches are dry. I want to see him when it's wet and windy. I want to see him in all. Then I want to check out his background, look at his family, what's his attitude like, everything. So when you're scouting, it runs a bit deeper than just sort of the surface. But I listen, I would be like, yeah, if not now, you do know in 6 months' time. If he does what I predict he will do, then it's not just us chasing him.
Okay. Very quickly, because I do want to move on. Newport home to Gillingham this Saturday in the FA Cup after a stunning win at Harrogate.
Unbelievable, right?
And they've now won 3 of the last 4.
It's crazy. Football's just mad, eh? Big football nuts.
I mean, they're still bottom.
Yeah, but there's all sorts of talk about, Dave going and what have you, and falling out with the owner, chairman, and we know there's not like harmony. But I would encourage you, Jenkins, to create a situation where there is harmony, right? Because you're on the right track, you're going in the right direction, you're winning games. Like, don't wait for him to lose and then say, right, I can now do it.
Yeah.
When it's going good, support it and keep it going, see how long it can go for.
3 points now cover the bottom 6 in League 2 with an FA Cup weekend.
Yeah.
And just before we leave Cardiff Wrexham, I've got to mention this, because if things go the other way, we would mention it. But I watched it in a place called the Ludo Sports Bar, which is new to Cardiff. Packed overwhelmingly with Cardiff fans, but actually 2 Wrexham fans in there, loud and proud with their Wrexham shirts on, just quietly having a drink, watching the game. There's screens all over the place. And they jumped for joy when Kiefer Moore scored. And it was just great atmosphere.
Yeah, he just...
No, so I only mention that because it was really something that if it had gone the other, if something had happened. I mean, I remember going to Spain to see my son. We tried to get into Atletico Madrid against Real Madrid, couldn't get a ticket. I mean, we could have, but paid like $2,000 for a ticket on the night.
You ain't doing that.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. So we went to the nearest. I said to my daughter, I said, we'll go to the nearest bar to the Wanda Metropolitan. Fantastic arena, great atmosphere outside. That was a joy anyway. Went into the bar and we were packed. It was packed with Atleti fans, and there was one Real Madrid fan, one. And he didn't look out of place. Well, he did look out of place, but he didn't feel out of place at all. And that's the same with those 2 Wrexham fans. Great place, Ludo. Great for watching. Screens everywhere. but they had a great time as well, despite the results. So
I think
we talk about Welsh rivalry. Is it a
yeah,
derby?
it's gone
And all
of the
that
days.
sort of stuff?
Listen. You're not going to get Swansea fans in a Cardiff bar, and vice versa. You're just not. Like that wouldn't be if it was Swansea, right? The police wouldn't even let it happen because you know what would happen. But I think we made the point like last week. There's between the Cardiff and Wrexham fans, the North and the Southern fans. There's a lot of them who travel together now. So with Wales and what's happened with Wales, it's a different atmosphere to the. There's not the. There was a lot of hate in the 90s when I played.
Yeah.
I don't think that's there at the moment.
No.
You know what I mean? I think most Welsh fans, Cardiff fans, are going, not fair play, they've done well. Wrexham, right? Don't begrudge them, do you? You look at them and you go,
oh, they've done brilliantly well.
Fair play.
Yeah,
right? And I think that's the point with most Cardiff fans. I don't think there's a sort of viciousness to the two.
No. Well, I didn't see them at the end. They soon disappeared when the final whistle went. But
and the Newport Gillingham, because you're going back to Newport Gillingham, I mean, the league game, Newport should have won that. You know, they started
lost 3-1 in the end, didn't they?
Yeah, but they started really well.
Yeah.
Scored after 30 seconds, had a penalty after like 2 or 3 minutes. Missed the rebound. But had they gone 2-0 up, then you know that might have been a different story. And I think them in confident mood now. That should be a really good game because they could do with a little run for the finances as well.
Yeah, quite.
We were saying that, and we said that, and the supporters trust were in charge, didn't we?
Yeah,
we thought those problems were long behind us, but hey.
Well, you are listening and watching the Rob and Blakey Commentary Box podcast. We're loud and clear on Welsh football. We're available on all social media outlets and, of course, where you get your podcasts, including Spotify. You know the score, as I say. Enjoy, follow and subscribe. And if there are any sponsors or advertisers out there looking to support us, we are open to offers. Drop us an email if you want to talk. Our email is robandblakey@gmail.com. We're really keen to talk to you because we're really keen to grow the podcast, and maybe we can do that with your help. One has become two on the Rob and Blakey Commentary Box podcast couch. I get a chair. He gets a couch. But Ben Thomas has joined us. And Ben, you had a watching brief last night. We talked about the happiness of Cardiff fans and Newport fans. Swansea as well after last Saturday. Not so much Wrexham, but Wales women got beaten last night. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it was another difficult night. I thought, well, the start was really good. The early goal from Elise Hughes, and I thought this was going to be the night that they break that string of defeats. They started very positive, very much on the front foot. It felt like every pass for the first 10 minutes was
good
with
chance to go 2-0 up as
yeah,
well,
and the chance to go 2-0 up. But there was a very front foot sort of thought process behind the way they started the game, but defensively just very naive, I think. And if you're a team that's going to concede 5 goals, you're never going to give yourself much of a chance to win a game.
What would you put it down to then? Because they're conceding a lot of goals. You know, if you look at like the Euros and then post Euros, they seem to be in that position. If the problem before they went to the Euros was conceding an early goal and set pieces. But now they just when they got to the Euros and since that, they seem to have...
I saw the Polish goals as well. There were some fairly easy goals, weren't there?
There were some really good finishes.
Good finishes.
Yeah. And they had probably 3 other good chances at least, Poland. I'd say Wales had 1 or 2. I think Wales hit the bar, didn't they, as well? But what do you make of it all? Why do you think they're conceding so many goals?
I think, like I said, it was just a bit of naivety. I think it is quite a young squad, and the sort of buzzword in Welsh football is transition and a team being in transition. But when you're losing players like Jess Fishlock and you're trying to bed in a lot of young players, I think you are going to get some mistakes 2 of the goals last night come from just switching off of corners. It was short corners, stuff like that. At that level, you can't really be getting caught out with things like that. So it's just, I think it is a learning curve. You've got a lot of young players that you're trying to bed in. It is that next generation now that they're trying to push through, Briss. You've got to get rid of what is simple mistakes like that. I think getting caught out to short corners and things like that is, at that level, you just can't get found out.
I think after the going to the Euros, all the players that went to the Euros, it should have given them another level. Do you know what I mean? Forget the results. The fact that you got there and were at the Euros should give you an added confidence to say, you know, because I think Poland are 26, I think 25, 26, 27, and we're like 32, 33 rankings in the world, so there's not a lot between us. And I would expect to be a far closer affair. So I take one and watch.
I mean, qualification starts again next year, doesn't it? So I think they've got some friendlies in November again now. But it's lost the last 7 in a row, 11 without a win. Since they qualified for the Euros in Dublin. Yeah. That was the last win. How worried should we be by that? And it's, let's be honest about it, it's post-Jess Fishlock now. There's no Jess Fishlock to get you out of a hole, which she did so often.
Yeah, I think when, like you said, when you're losing so many games, it's difficult to try and find positives in that. And as well as they done qualifying for the European Championships, when you come up against that level of opposition, I think they've realised how far they are still off, how much of a gap it is between those sorts of sides. And when you qualify for competitions, you've seen it with the men's side, when they first qualified for the Euros in 2016, it almost becomes that expectation to keep doing it then and keep...
Well, they didn't qualify for the next World Cup.
No, but we've got there once, so people almost expect you to maintain that level or compete at that level consistency. And with a footballing nation like Wales, we are behind in some aspects, but we have got a much smaller pool of players to choose from. And when you're trying to bring in, like I said, the new group of youngsters now, you're losing the most experienced players, the players that within the squad that you've got can play at that level. So yeah, I think it is going to take time to develop to be able to compete against the higher nations on a regular basis.
Well, let me ask you this then, because I was, if you go to the Adran Premier now, Cardiff beat Pontypridd United 7-1, stay on top of the league on goal difference from Wrexham, who scored 5 against Aberystwyth without reply. Amy Devon scored 4 for Swansea City. They beat Britain Ferry Clansell 6-1 to stay third, and TNS were 4-2 winners over Barry. So you'd probably say Newport haven't got a team. They're the 4 best team in Wales. I was on another podcast, Fearless in Devotion, the Wrexham podcast, previewing the Wrexham Cardiff game, and they talked about the women's side of the game and what they've done. And remember, we talked last week about the new person, sort of sporting director at Wrexham on the women's side. And I think we all agreed it was a statement recruitment, a statement addition to their setup. In other words, he's got such a good track record that it says, right, they seriously mean business on the women's side. And one of the contributors asked me a really interesting question, which sort of stumped me a bit. He said, do you think this is planning for Wrexham to go into England and play in the English system?
Maybe it could be a possibility, but in terms of how you want to see Wales develop as a nation, both internationally and in terms of domestic football as well, I think that investment needs to stay within Wales. I don't think it would be any good for Wrexham to develop their women's side to a point where they just take it to the English setup, because, well, as we've seen, when Cardiff, Swansea, Newport and Wrexham play in the EFL, that has had a drastic impact on how the men's domestic game is in Wales, because the biggest crowds, the biggest teams are not playing in Wales, which has had an impact on how much it's been able to grow. So,
let me ask you something there. When your team is playing in a higher competition, you create a better player that will then come back to your national team. So my point being is if Cardiff, Swansea, Wrexham, Newport were all playing in the Welsh League, do you think they would be providing the Welsh international setup with players?
probably not now because there's such a disparity, but within the women's game, it's still at that level where everyone is on an equal playing field. So domestically within Wales, I think the women's game can be developed enough where from the domestic teams they are giving international level players that I can understand that if they were to go to the English setup that they would be playing against a higher level of competition, but I don't understand why we can't develop football in Wales to compete with that.
Because it's okay saying I'm invested in grassroots, but you literally have to do it. I always say, are you invested in grassroots, men and women? I look at the pitches. I look at there'll be one pitch here and one pitch there, or 3G here, 3G there. The school's football isn't what it used to be. It's starting to come back now, but it isn't what it used to be. The pitches are still awful. Like they shouldn't be. It should be whether you're playing for Cardiff City or whether you're playing for Spencer Boys. Pitches now should be pristine. They should be looked after. Councils, whatever, should be made to look after them through pressure from the Welsh FA, because what you're playing on and when you're training on makes a difference. When you and I went to the Euros and we went to Amsterdam, remember? We were in the Hotel Football, I think it was called.
Yeah.
And you looked out, I don't know if you looked out, but I looked out the back window, I looked across, there was like some sort of academy going on and kids football. And the pitches, and they're duts, like absolute duts, little like 5-6-year-olds, but they're playing on what we call like carpet, right? Now, I don't care whether it's Gwent League, like Sunday League, whatever league it is, it's 2025 and football is the biggest game in this nation. Wales, Scotland, Ireland, like Ireland probably you could challenge, but Wales, Scotland and England, football is the biggest game. If you're invested in the game, you invest in it.
Yeah, and
where you can see it.
Yeah, I agree. And what I would say is that you remember I went to the presentation by Noel Mooney a few weeks ago, and he talked about the amount of investment they're making into the pitches. They've got under-19 test games up in North Wales.
Yeah, what pitches though?
Next month.
It's not.
Well,
so what I'm saying is, let me just finish, Rob. So what I'm saying is, you might get a kid that's playing for Newport schools, or might be playing for Llanedin, but he or she will come to be a top player in the international setup. And if you ask that person as an adult, right, when you're a child, where did you play? What did you do? What were the pitches like? What was the facilities like? Right? Most of the teams I speak to who are, lower league, roundabout, it's more about the money they have to pay.
Yeah, but I don't think you can knock the FAW for the money that they've generated to put into.
No, you can. There's no knocking.
Pitches.
What I'm saying is, like, literally.
But it's a long job. Yeah, that's what I'd say. It's a long job.
Yeah,
and my point on the women's thing is that.
But there are money going other places as well, which I think to myself, well, if you're investing in the growth of the game, you go down and you start here, or you might say, right, we're good down to 18. Like next is we're going to 16 to 14-year-olds. Next we're going from 14 to 12-year-olds, and so on and so forth. What I'm saying is, if you speak to a lot of clubs, I don't think they would say we get the investment into our clubs, so we're able to improve our facilities.
I'm sure there'll be clubs who want more, but the figures speak for themselves.
Not more. It's the majority, I think.
Well. Yeah, but then you can't help everybody all the time, can you? Because there's only a finite amount of money.
So who do you help then?
Well, you've got to help. For instance, as I was saying, they're staging the under-19s European tournament next summer, aren't they? So there are test events in North Wales in the next few weeks. where Wales under 19s are playing national teams.
So that's what I'm saying. You're talking about grassroots investment into the international setups. I'm talking a totally different thing. I'm talking investment into the game across the board.
But we're talking about investment into the women's game in particular, because that's what we were talking about.
Because Rob Phillips might be playing for Llanedin.
Yeah.
He might not be in the Welsh setup. That's my point.
But that's more of a, I would say, without being pedantic about it, but I can be, that's more of a local authority issue than an FAW issue.
Yeah,
Cardiff Parks and Newport Parks are, then they're really not the FAW's thing, are they? That's Newport Council or whatever.
Well, yes, but no.
Well, that makes sense.
Well, if you're investing and you know the pitches that the councils were broke and have been for the last however many years, and you're investing in grassroots game, like, what are you talking? It's just then grassroots if you get into the Welsh setup and you come here and you train on this beautiful pitch. But if you're the other 24 teams in Newport or Cardiff or whatever, because you've got local councils, we don't give no money there. But they're the majority of where all the talent is coming from.
Yeah, maybe.
So that's what I'm saying. That
Yeah.
I think there's a way that the Welsh effort, and I'm not saying, I don't think you can spread yourself too thinly across. I just think it could be better. Money could be spent better, wider than what it currently is.
Okay, we shall see. And the good, I'm just going back to the women's side. The good thing is that Cardiff, Swansea, Wrexham, and to some and TNS as well, they are investing in those sides, aren't they? So to try and prevent, I mean, there will be girls, if they're good enough, they go to, I'm sure they could go to a English Premier side if they're good enough. And that's what you want. It's rugby suffered, didn't they, by saying, well, you can't go abroad, you got to, and you won't play for Wales unless you got so many caps.
It's the maddest thing.
Yeah.
It's the
Imagine
maddest
Gareth
thing.
Bale not going to Real Madrid.
Well, don't go to Tottenham.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't go to Southampton. Don't
Exactly.
develop and become a better player.
Yeah.
I think it's just a case of giving domestic sides as well the opportunity to develop enough of those players. So even if they're not consistently staying within Welsh domestic football, you're creating more from that pool of Welsh players that are going on to have more opportunities to go and play with bigger clubs. So inevitably, even if they are moving on to the English system, you've got more Welsh players coming through, which ultimately makes a bigger pool when it comes to international level as well.
Quite. And they are going to have to improve, because it's the first time Rhian Wilkinson, I've heard us say it after the Poland game last night, that was unacceptable. That wasn't acceptable. So we shall see where that goes.
Yeah, but when managers say that, I always say, and this isn't a Rhian Wilkinson thing, I always say,
It's you as well?
right. We hate it as players when a manager starts like giving it the old Matrix Neo, like, whoa, I'll dodge those bullets. Yeah, it was them over there, right? No. We played to the system that you set us up. Like, for many a moon, we said, they got to stop conceding early goals, right?
Yeah.
They concede them, set pieces. Got to stop it. Didn't. Same again now, right? You got to stop concede. You can't be losing 3s, 4s, 5s. That means you got to score 5, 6, 7s to win games.
Yeah.
Right? And it starts with the coaching staff, because the coaching staff have the best players to hand, and then they set you up in a way of, this is how we're going to play. Right? And whether you think, we're going to be offensive and do this and do that, or we're going to sit in a deep defensive block, you look at the players that you got to hand, and then you think, right, they will fit this system best. That's the way we're going with these players. And then if 2 or 3 women come up from the 18s or the 21s who are a bit superstar-ish, okay, we can adjust now. We've got a new Jess Fishlock coming through, a new Sophie. We can actually adjust, and we can incorporate them. Like we're saying, it's nurturing, like with Rubin. Like, you nurture these players in, right? So
Back to where we were. Rubin
yeah,
Colwill,
full circle. Yeah.
back to
But
him.
yeah, it's gonna be it's tough. I think it's tough. I think not just Rhian Wilkinson saying we've got to do better, this, that, and the other. Actually, everything needs to be better around it, right? But let's not forget, still, they're still very young. They're in their infancy as an international team.
They are. Finally, Ben, TNS 9 points clear at the top now. And 9 league wins on the bounce. We won't bring in Nathan here because I know he's going to say. Carnarvon blundered with a Penabont with a 2-0 win over them. Ended a 4-match. They blundered Penabont, didn't they, with a 2-0 win in South Wales, which sort of got them back on track. Haverwest hit back from 2 goals down to draw with Connors Key. Cardiff Met scored 3 in 7 minutes to beat Flint Town United, and Colwyn Bay were 2-0 winners at Britain Ferry, the only goalless game. That's the one good thing about the Welsh system. You get plenty of goals, women and men. Bala was a Bala where Barry went home with a point. There's nobody to stop, Ben. I mean, I'll give you the easiest question of all now. There's no one going to stop TNS this season, is there?
No, it's too difficult, I think, in terms of just the depth and the quality they've got. It's near impossible for any of the other side. They can try and keep up as much as they can. I know Penabont put up a bit of a fight last year, but ultimately fell off when they had injuries, and it's just the same case again this year, I think. And TNS lost their first game of the season, I think it was 3-0 against Britain Ferry. And that, I think that was almost the worst thing that could happen to the league, because it just wakes them up straight away.
Oh, right. Because when it bites you, then, yeah.
You know, with TNS, they're probably going to lose 2 to 3 games maximum a season, and I think that first loss of the season just instantly woke them up to the point where they're now 9 wins on the bounce, and you can't see them losing.
And they haven't got the distraction of Europe either, have they?
Yeah, they went out of Europe as well.
No.
But
there we are.
How do you think that changes, though? How do you think that now there's other teams now start to win that league, and do you know what I mean? Start to stop that dominance, because, like I always say, it's not for them to come down and bring themselves down. It's for you to catch up, right? How do the other teams close that gap? Otherwise, it's great for TNS, but it's not great for the league, is it?
No, it takes away obviously the competitive edge, and I think the interest in the league, when it almost feels like, well, we haven't even got to Christmas yet, and it feels like the league is pretty much already wrapped up. So I think for some football fans within Wales, they might look at that and think, why am I going to go and watch some of these games?
They use Mickey Mouse.
It's difficult sometimes, but...
Oh, it's Mickey Mouse.
Again, I think it comes to investment within the other clubs. TNS are in the position they are because they've had heavy investment, which ultimately means they're at a much better level than any other team domestically. They are guaranteed European football and the money that brings as well. I think you just need other clubs to get investment on board similar to that. I know Haverfordwest have spoke about it recently with their chairman, Rob Edwards, put out an open letter basically saying he feels like he's taken them as far as he could, and they've reached Europe once, but it's not consistent, and they've struggled this year. Llanelli as well have recently joined the Republic European platform, which will allow investment from around the world to take some control of the football club or part ownership of the football club to put money in. I think it is just a matter of these clubs getting heavy investment to compete with TNS. Until you get that, I think they're always just going to be runaway.
Really interesting.
Didn't you?
Sorry?
Redundancy, you had a good packet, didn't you?
I'm not that stupid. The last thing I'd ever do is put money in the football club.
Go on, mate. Go on.
No, you're okay. Don't think I've ever made as much money as you have, Nathan Blake. I'm waiting for you to buy into a club.
Yeah.
And on that note, I think we should bring an end to proceedings. But brilliant stuff, Ben. Where else can we find you, as well as this podcast?
On Twitter, do a bit on social media as well with TikTok and stuff like that. I'm always at Welsh football games, so Ben Goes Football on there. So if anyone wants to get involved in Welsh football or see how good it is when you do get involved in it, then check it out.
Well, that's the benefit of being at the University of South Wales. They've got some brilliant students, and they add to what we hope we can bring to the Rob and Blakey Commentary Box podcast. That just about does it for this week. Next week will be an international mode because we'll be recording our podcast after Craig Bellamy has named his squad for the World Cup qualifiers against Liechtenstein and, of course, that huge game at home to North Macedonia. So join us for that, and do hope you've enjoyed this from me, Rob Phillips, Nathan Blake and Ben Thomas. Very goodbye.